We're joined now by Curtis Lazar, who played an historic role in the 2014 Memorial Cup, went on to be a first-round pick in the National Hockey League as his continued career keeps on and moving. And Curtis, great to see you. Unbelievable to think that this much time has passed 6 years since that Memorial Cup win. How fresh is it still in your mind?
It's pretty crazy, like you said. I mean, it's 6 years ago, but you think back to it, and I mean, going through this, this kind of pause, and it's, it is a chance to reflect on the past, and it feels like yesterday now, just kind of, rewatching the games, and talking to a few buddies from that team, and it's pretty cool. I mean, it was a very special season, and definitely those are memories I'll carry with me forever.
The fascinating part I found about that cup was when you go back and look to 2012, a bit of a surprise win for the Edmonton Oil Kings that year. They go to the Memorial Cup in Shawinigan, and I think maybe a little bit bright-eyed, maybe a little younger, maybe a little bit overwhelmed by what the tournament had to offer. But that core group of guys returned 2 years later. All those epic battles with Portland, of course, in the final, and those 3 years in a row. But what do you think you guys were able to take from 2012 and carry into 2014?
Yeah, like you said, I mean, in 2012, we came off hard-fought series against Portland, and we got to Shawinigan, we exhaled. It was kind of like we made it, and we forgot that we beat the best in the Western League, but now we had to beat the best in the country, and we kind of lost that step, and it was a very humbling experience, playing. London, St. John's, and Shawinigan out there. I mean, they really took it to us, and that only just fueled us. And as a core group of guys, like you said, is when we got to London there in 2014, we had a team meeting, and every single one of us returning guys just kind of stepped up and relayed that message. Is this is a big opportunity, and you're not going to get it again. And it's a matter of just, taking care of it. We were blessed that we did get a second crack at it. And we just kind of, focused everyone in. And it was a business-like approach ever since, we touched down there in London.
It's a little different when you're a 16 or maybe a 17-year-old and your playing time isn't so great. But I look at a guy like Tristan Jarry, who was there also in 2012 and waited patiently through 2013, the disappointment there. And then he gets to 2014 and he's the guy. How big a part of 2012 was it for Tristan, and what did you see in his maturity level for him to raise his game to make you guys champions?
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Tristan is, he's one of my closer friends. We knew each other, growing up playing, spring hockey together, then ultimately getting drafted to the Oil Kings together and continuing that on. And like you said, is his role just kind of grew as a goalie. You have to be patient, and we had a pretty good goalie in Laurent Brossoit there, and it's cool seeing both those guys do their thing in the National Hockey League. But Tristan, he just goes into his business. He lets in a bad goal, whatever. He makes an incredible save. It's whatever, and that poise and just like I said, that calm demeanor that he had really, I think, kept us pretty laid back as a team, knowing that he's going to bail us out. And throughout the pressure situations that Memorial Cup has to offer, he stood tall every step of the way.
I'm really fascinated by the mindset of your group. You guys are playing in the WHL Championship. You beat Portland. You show up in London, Ontario. What's the mindset of the group? Are you looking at the competition, or are you saying, oh, we've got a bunch of guys who've been here before? Or what is the mindset of the group going into the tournament?
It's hard, but I mean, our team, we're so full of character. Again, nobody really pegged us to make our way out of the Western Hockey League, let alone win the national championship. And that was the best thing about our group is, whenever we needed a big goal or, a big play, someone new stepped up. And that's, unity that we had. I mean, it started with our coaching staff, and, it's kind of prepared us for everything. But then us players, we just kind of took it around with us. So going to London, again, we knew Guelph. I think they're ranked, 1 or 2 in the nation for the majority of the year. Obviously, London is the host. The Knights with their rich history, they're a very tough team. And then Val d'Or too. I mean, the Quebec League's filled with offense, and they're going to be coming at you, wave after wave. And we just really kind of focused on ourselves. And I don't think our round robin was the best or anything, but we kept on building, and we just took things day at a time. And in the end, it paid off.
When I go back to that round robin, I mean, that tournament to me is known for the 2 epic games you guys had with Val d'Or. Take me back to that first game that went into double overtime. And you guys, like you say, weren't quite the team you were in the final as you were in the round robin. But what were you thinking when Val d'Or kind of stunned you guys in that double overtime in the round robin meeting between the 2 clubs?
Yeah, it's again first time playing the team. You know, you do a little bit of pre-scout here and there, and you're watching the games earlier in that week, but then you get a chance to play them, and everything's different. And we knew that the big guy to key on was Anthony Mantha. He's a dynamic goal scorer, and we just again just played our game, and it kept going and it kept going and it kept going, and then all of a sudden we're the game's over, and we're like, well, we get these guys again, and never would we have thought that the next game was going to go even longer with even more on the line. And I mean that's the beauty of junior hockey, right? I mean, if we were to play those games again, who knows? Maybe we'd have another overtime game. Maybe they'd be a blowout, but the result could have been completely different. But it's just in that moment, the opportunity that rises, and having a chance just to run with it and have some fun. And again, I think if you ask players on both teams, is you couldn't have asked for a better couple games on the biggest stage of junior hockey.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing to watch. You think about Nicolas Aubé-Kubel, you think about Anthony Mantha, of course, Bibo in goal for Val-d'Or, and then I look at you guys with Jari and Reinhart and yourself and a host of others. And so now you get into that Friday semifinal, and you've just played a crazy round robin. You lose to them in double overtime, and now you get to the round robin game. And it had to be coming near the end of the game where the Oil Kings were thinking, all right, man, this thing, it's done, it's wrapped up. And then kind of explain to us what happened from there in the final minute of the third, and then right on through to obviously the historic goal.
Yeah, we like I said, it's about mid-third period or so. I think we're up a couple there, and in the back of my mind, sort of thinking, okay, we got this. Momentum was in our favor, and we thought we could ride it out. And they got one again. I think it was a soft goal or something. It was a harmless play that ended up in the back of our nets. And you're like, okay, well, here we go, that's one. And you get down a minute left, and okay, anything can happen here. I mean, obviously, we got Tristan, who's a sensational goalie. He's going to bail us out. And I'll never forget that. We had face-off on our own end. They called a timeout, and with the face-off being on the left side, I mean, his right-handed shots, they put Riley Keyser in at the draw. He's a left-handed center, so he could win it out of his backhand. So I was lined up as the winger, and my job was to get out to the point. Well, they ended up winning the face-off. It goes back to the D-man, and that's my shot to block. Well, I was a perfect screen for Tristan. I lined up with the shooter and not the puck. Seeing I shot, right past Tristan. And the moment I'll never forget then was, they're doing the flyby and everything like that, and we're skating back to the bench. And the glare that I got from Derek Laxdal is one that I'll never be able to erase from my mind. And he sat there with his arms crossed, just looking at me. And right then I knew, well, I owe the boys one here. And again, like you said, then overtime came, and we kept going and going. And I mean, there's pizza in the intermission. Guys are breaking down. They're cramping up. I remember Edgar Skolda, I think, in the beginning of the third overtime, he seized up on the other side of the ice, and he couldn't get off, and he's limping and hobbling. And eventually, a chance came. Again, it seemed like a harmless play. Reed Petchik threw it back up top to Cody Corbett, who tried to get it on net. I don't think he saw me, but I just found a little soft spot, got a little deflection on it, and that was that.
Yeah, that's crazy. And that's so interesting what you guys are doing in between the periods. I mean, you get through one overtime, you're all right, we've been here before. Now you get through the second overtime, you got to be thinking, like, what is it that we have to do? Or what is your mindset? And who's vocal in the room at that point to kind of rally the guys to come out strong into that third overtime?
Yeah, again, you're a captain, Griffin Reinhart. Again, very calm guy, not a lot of voice in the room, but when he speaks up, you listen. And this was a moment where Griffin didn't really speak up. He was just kind of quiet. And Mitch Moroz was the guy. Actually, he was he's always our emotional leader. Wears his heart in his sleeves. And he piped up there in the room. There may not have been a few tears in the intermission, just with everything on the line. And we just kind of, guys, we're giggling. We keep it loose because what could you ask for? You're going a lengthy overtime game in Memorial Cup. Like it's pretty cool. And I think at that point, we're broke history of being the longest game ever. And it was pretty cool. But we, again, like the whole season, we knew someone was going to step up, and it just happened to be my time. And I felt like I owed the boys one after, kind of, giving it to Val-d'Or. They're late, but again, we just kept going and going, and we found a way in the third overtime. I just think, you fight so hard in your sixth period, and, your brain's mush at that point. And the only thing I could think of, at that point, I want to say that was my only overtime goal during my junior career. And, you kind of like, oh, what can you do? How can you top it off? And I said, well, I'm exhausted, so I may as well just wipe my brow there, skate as hard as I can back to Tristan, and because he kept us in it. But that's the celebration. And every time I see it, it's pretty cool. So I thought I nailed it on that one.
I'm really impressed by the resolve of that group, and here's why. I mean, you guys have 3 straight years against the Portland Winterhawks. You win in 2012, you lose in 13, you win again in 14. So you're riding that high, as you say. And now, instead of exhaling like you did in 2012, you come into London and you're ready to go. And then the round robin doesn't quite go the way you think it's going to go. And then the low of losing in double overtime, the elation of winning the semifinal in triple overtime, but the job's not done there. So now you got a day off to regroup. What happened on that day off to allow you guys to reset to enter into the final game on Sunday?
Yeah, a lot of hydration. We owe a lot to, our training staff and Brian Cheeseman and, the equipment staff, Rogan Dean and everyone like that, just the people behind the scenes, right, that do so much work in preparing you, a quick turnaround there for, the biggest game of your junior career. And I know that we're back in the hotel room. We had those, Normatec recovery things on your legs that kind of, flush the blood a little bit. We're drinking Gatorade and water and everything like that. And then we had a video session there, and Derek Laxdal and Steve Hamilton just kind of laid it out. Again, playing Guelph, who steamrolled everyone in the round robin, but we knew that we were battle contested at this point. Like you said, we've gone through the highs and lows of this thing. We've played a lot of hockey, and they were off since Wednesday. And, they had a lot of time off. We know it'd take them a little bit to get their feet going, but our coaches kind of laid it out there, said, Guelph's going to throw this at us. We're going to counter by doing this. If this happens, that's okay, because we're going to get our chance here. And that kind of just led into the final game. And I mean, in typical Oil King fashion, we're not going to make it easy on ourselves. And a minute in, we cough one up and it's in the back of our net. And even then there's, no panic, nothing. We got 59 minutes here to figure it out. And, we just kept going and we found a way.
There's a couple of individuals that really, really impressed me throughout the course of that event, and maybe guys that, I don't know, may have been forgotten or maybe didn't get quite the airtime that someone like yourself being a first-round pick did. But the guy that really impressed me in that event, I think he had 6 points, was Cody Corbett, the American defenseman, who had just kind of quietly gone about his business, had a pretty good year that year. But in the tournament, I mean, he was outstanding. Speak about his performance a little bit and what you think allowed him to rise to the challenge.
Yeah, Corb's, he was a great addition. Again, Minnesota kid. He joined our team mid-season, I guess, a couple years ago. And I remember he walked in the room, his long, shaggy hair, and you could tell just wasn't really used to, what hockey in Canada was like, let alone at, the top junior level. And the thing with him is he kept on improving and just growing and growing and, getting better. And that Memorial Cup, like I said, was his coming out party. He really just kind of took the bull by the horns there and just ran with it. He was finding the back of the nets, making good plays. He's a guy that can skate well and really can shoot the puck, and we needed that. And our D-core is very dynamic in that we had guys that were able to offer everything, a wide range of attributes, and he was a big part of that. He's a good catalyst there, and it's cool to see when the going gets tough and the games are on line, who's able to step up, and he definitely was one of them.
Another guy that really stepped up in that tournament was Edgars Calda. And again, another player who had a good year, but a guy that seemed to really gravitate towards his teammates. His teammates seemed to gravitate towards him, but he was brilliant in the tournament. Just some commentary about Calda, what he meant to your group and how well he performed at the Cup.
Good old Eddie Calda, yeah. I mean, what a tournament he had. He just I don't think anyone knew that he had that kind of hockey in him. And he ran with it. I think it led to him getting drafted by Arizona later. And I think it's mainly just because of his Memorial Cup. He was so dominant in the way that he played, and his puck skills, being able to make plays under pressure. And the thing with all Europeans, right, is you're leaving your country, you're coming to a foreign place, and had a chance there where he's always a jokester. He's kind of pouting here and there and whatnot, but when it came down, he loved the game, and we loved having him in the room. He kept things light, and like you said, his guys just kept on stepping up, and he was a force to be reckoned with every single game. And it was pretty cool to see that if we needed an emotional boost, that he was there, and he was going to be playing his heart out every shift.
Another guy who had a brilliant performance in that event was Henrik Samuelsson, much more of a known commodity because of his hockey background, his dad, his name, so on and so forth. But 5 points in the championship game, absolutely brilliant in the face-off circle, a big body guy. I think he pissed everyone off that he played against. A little bit about Henrik and what he meant to your group. And it seemed to me as if, you know, you've kind of got that nice guy, boy next door type of mentality. But when I look at Henrik, he's a guy that if you're on the other team, you're like, oh, I can't stand this guy. Is that the impression you got of him as a player? And did you see that have effectiveness throughout the regular season, the playoffs, and of course at the Memorial Cup?
Absolutely. The thing with Henrik was about finding that line, right? It's that fine line between what you can and can't get away with. And, sometimes you learn it the hard way, kind of crossing that line, but you always want a guy that leaves it all on the ice and an absolute competitor. Like you said, he was a man amongst boys out there. I mean, a big bodied guy, incredible hands, and he just wanted to win. And even, you look at the beginning of that game in the finals. I mean, he's starting scrums, he's lipping guys off, and you're just kind of like, okay, like it's just okay, don't do anything here that's going to hurt us. But no, we love Hanky, and I think it was that line, like you said, of Edgars Kolda, Henrik Samuelsson, Mitch Moroz that led the way there in the finals. They offensively, did their thing that kind of gave us enough of a margin to find a way to win. And Henrik, again, he goes about his business, like I said about those previous guys too. And it's that consistency within the team structure that I think allowed us to be so successful throughout the season. Everybody brought something to the table, and that was really cool to be special and be a part of, because all you had to do was take care of yourself, knowing that the other guys were going to do their job too.
Yeah, Mitch Moroz, also a guy who, again, you watch him, you look at his size, and he's kind of a soft, quiet talker off the ice when you're meeting him in a media scrum. But when he gets out there, I mean, the flip switched on that guy, and he was highly, highly effective as a physical player, a really good shooter, and a guy who I also think had that kind of impact in your group where he gave you a bit of swagger and, hey, don't touch the boys. I got you looked after. I think he played an integral part in things as well.
For sure. Mitchie, he does it all. I mean, he's a true power forward out there, but he's not afraid to drop the gloves either. And the Memorial Cup's always an interesting tournament, right? Because you're not too familiar with other players and what they can bring. But he had our backs each and every game. And he says, "You want to get through my team? Well, you're gonna have to go through me first." And like you said, it's that swagger that's it just pisses other teams off, because you look at him and says, "What's this guy doing?" His chest's out, but that's what Mitchie was, and the little bit of doubt that you could put in other teams, it definitely helped us out. And like I said, is very emotional, on and off the ice, and we loved it. Our team, like I said, that's why we're still friends to this day. Is just because we had these memories of everyone just being themselves and everything just worked. And Mitchie, I think he had that big goal there, maybe a couple goals in the final, I'm not sure, but again, just finds a way. And it's not always going to be pretty, but it's effective, and he was a big part of our team.
Well, that resilience really came through in the group. You talked about Fabry opening the score 1 minute in, and then you guys have a great second period, and it turns out to be a pretty sizable win, a 6-3 win for the Edmonton Oil Kings. But I'd be remiss if I didn't mention someone in particular that I also think had a profound impact on this group. When I go back to 2012 and think about that core group that grew into what 2014 was, Christian Pelch was a young man who was a part of that group in 2012. He passed tragically in the summer of 2013 before that 13-14 season. But what role in inspiring your group did he have, and how much of an impact do you think his presence was within your group?
It was huge. Pelcia, in my mind, would have had a very promising NHL career. I mean, this guy could skate like the wind, incredible hands and a great shot. And like you said, you're going to the junior and a chance to play. You're 16, you're leaving home for the first time, and he was right there, an incredible teammate and a person I was very proud to call my friend. And we got hit with that news just leading into the season, and obviously it's very hard to swallow. And us returning guys, or the guys that knew Pelcy, kind of knew that this is a big opportunity here to honor him, and we want to continue his legacy there. And he was with us every step of the way, and I think it's pretty cool that we had the jersey, with his name and number on the back. Wherever we were, he was there with us. And it's knowing that our Cinderella story, they went all the way with his jersey. I know that he was watching over us throughout the whole season, and it's very very cool. And I mean, now in Edmonton, we have the Christian's Pulse Award that's handed out every year to the players and stuff like that. So he's a big part of the Oil Kings family. In some way, I was very proud to be friends with, and he's greatly missed.
One last thing I just want to ask you about, and the Pelche story. I mean, it's unbelievable, and how Rogan and Cheese were able to carry his memory along with you guys, and so he would have that presence with your group. But when you go back and think about how hard it is to win a Memorial Cup, and you guys experienced it all in the 2 times you were there in that 3-year stretch, and then you think about World Junior success, and you think about being drafted in the first round, the NHL, and playing your first NHL game. Where does the Memorial Cup stand along that continuum of major events in your life?
Oh, it's right up there near the top. And the thing with that is, I mean, you can't really compare anything, right? The World Juniors, it's great. Canadians take such a pride in it and have a chance to win it on home ice. It's remarkable, but this is a mission here that it took myself 3 years. It took a lot of us 3 years to accomplish, and we came so close, and then not achieving it. Well, I mean, we still had the mindset there we're going to get back to the Memorial Cup, which means winning the Edmonton Cup again, and then getting the chance to play for the Memorial Cup for the national championship. That's why, I mean, it's one of the hardest trophies to win in sports, and very honored to have the chance there to play for it twice. It's right near the top because these guys are our friends. You go through such a crucial age as well. I mean, your boys, and you're maturing to men. You're getting ready to go play pro. Some guys are getting ready to go to school and kind of transition to the real world. And they really are your family during that time. And being out in Edmonton, the cold winters that we've had, I mean, it just brought us closer and closer. But I couldn't have asked for a better end. And I have many memories with that Oil Kings sweater on, but lifting that Memorial Cup trophy is definitely at the top of my list.
Awesome. Well, listen, we really appreciate the time. Busy guy, National Hockey League career. From a personal perspective, all the time you were able to give us as an Oil King was really, really appreciated. It helps provide insight into what it's like to be an Edmonton Oil King, to tell people the story about what it was like to be there and lose in 2012 and come back and win in 2014. So always one of our favorites. Thanks so much for taking the time. Congratulations on 2014, of course, the World Juniors, and of course your continuing National Hockey League career. Curtis Lazar, a member of the 2014 Edmonton Oil King Memorial Cup Championship team. Thanks, Curtis.
Thanks.